Video games can be scary.
Especially when we played them when we were kids.
If you combine jump scares with eerie dialogue, evil environments and characters, you get our second favorite genre of video games.
Survival horror.
Here are the games that terrified us.
Retro edition. For the sake of this video, we're considering anything older than the PS2 to be retro, because it is 22 years old.
I feel old. If you don't agree with us that PS2 and prior to that is the retro era, let's start off with the biggest survival horror franchise ever, the Resident Evil series.
The best one, in our opinion, is Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. So this game built upon the original and included scary things like running from scary dogs, walking around an empty precinct, and just wandering around town trying to avoid the creepy sounds and creatures.
Mostly zombies.
It's good to see you're still among the living.
The scariest part for me was the liquor. It had brain exposed, no eyeballs, and it was fast. Way faster than the zombies. If it heard you, it was coming for you, and it had a lot more defense than your run-of-the-mill zombie.
Yeah, it took forever to kill. Like when you see one, you have one of two options. You either run and hope to be more powerful later, or you just unload every single bit of the ammo you have into it, and then it eventually will die, if you're lucky.
And then you're just gonna be wielding the knife or just dodging everything else for a while.
Long while. I agree that the liquor was the scariest part of the game, but not the first appearance of it. For me, the biggest jump scare came when you first could access the ladder in the middle of the back of the precinct. You just go up to the top and it's sitting there. It's just sitting there. It didn't even know you were there, but it's waiting for you, and it just scared the crap out of me.
For me, it was the first appearance of the liquor. They kind of, hinted at it. There was puddles of blood, and then it was upside down in the corner, ready to take you out with its long tongue.
It wanted to eat your face off.
No, it wanted to rip your head off.
Oh.
Of course, we needed to include an RPG, and the one we wanted to include was Parasite Eve. It is a survival horror style RPG.
It was released for the PlayStation 1. It's about Aya Brea, who's a New York police officer, and she's trying to hunt down and stop Eve, creature/human character, from making all the humans in the world spontaneously combust.
She's trying to turn them all into a part of her mitochondria.
It's pretty creepy. Parasite Eve is a turn-based action RPG that is honestly pretty short as far as RPGs are concerned. It's only about 10 hours of gameplay to complete start to finish if you're not a completionist. What's scarier than spontaneous combustion? I mean, she did it to a whole theater full of people.
So the scariest part for me was right at the beginning when you saw a rat split in half and mutate into this crazy monster. It was horrifying. I mean, rats are pretty scary as they are, especially in New York.
They're big rats in New York.
Yeah.
But this new creature that they created, unbelievable. Really, really well done.
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
So the next scary game on our list is D. Nothing scarier than trying to lift items off a table, walk, or just engage with the environment you're moving around, right?
I guess.
So here's the thing, D is a very interesting concept. It's about a lady named Laura. She actually goes into a hospital and search for her dad, who apparently went on a killing spree and killed everyone inside of it. He's a doctor. You get to hear from him a lot of times in the game.
Laura, 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 Laura.
From the great beyond.
So this game only takes about 2 hours to beat. In fact, you have to beat it under 2 hours or you get a game over. And the scariest part of the game really isn't the game itself or the challenge. It's in the mechanics, especially a scene where you're trying to fight this knight and it's just telling you which direction you have to move and it doesn't let you do it.
So you're trying to climb out of the well, you go up the ladder, and if you don't react in time, which you react in time, but the mechanics don't really recognize it, that knight just pushes you back down the well.
Left. Left. Why isn't it working? left, 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 left. Are you serious?
Left. Got it.
Are you serious?
It's not very responsive.
There are so many times in this game that you know exactly what to do, but you just can't do it.
Time for the Game Shark. One mechanic in RPGs that really scares me and stresses me out is a time trial. And this game is a time trial.
The entire game. This game isn't scary from the traditional sense, but adrenaline gets really high when you watch that clock ticking down and think, if I don't make it in time, I'm gonna have to play this game again. And nothing's scarier than having to play a bad game over and over again. The next game that terrified us is actually in the Silent Hill series. So, Silent Hill 2, everybody knows about Silent Hill 2. They have the iconic characters like the Pyramid Head and the Bubblehead Nurses, but while they hold a special place in our hearts, the real fright comes from the original entry in the series, Silent Hill 1. This is the first game that we ever played in which you're walking around outside in the fog with a radio on your neck, and it's just telling you when the monsters are gonna come and attack you. And you don't know where they're gonna come from or what they're gonna look like or how hard it's gonna be. And it just keeps happening over and over and over again.
Because the fog is thick.
Very thick. And PlayStation 1 graphics doesn't do it any justice either. It just makes it harder to see them.
It's more scary because you won't see them until they're there.
In Silent Hill, you play as Harry Mason in search for his daughter through a fictional town called Silent Hill. Silent Hill transitions from a nice, scary town to a dark, torturous, demon, even scarier town throughout the game. And you just have to try to find your daughter. So the monsters in this game aren't really anything to write home about. There's some anthropomorphic dudes, some weird dogs, some flying bird things, and like toddlers with knives. But walking around outside in the fog anytime is the scariest part of this game, hands down. If you haven't tried the original Silent Hill that was only released on the PlayStation 1, grab your favorite blanket, turn the lights off, and give it a shot. If you're okay with the classic tank controls, they're still hard.
The only person I've seen in this town is you.
The next game that terrified us is Fatal Frame for the PlayStation 2. This is the scariest game I've ever played. Fatal Frame is about a young girl named Miku. She is in search of her twin brother Mufuyu, who gets lost or disappears in the famous Japanese house, the Himuro Mansion. The craziest thing about this game is the Himuro Mansion is a real place. Like, legitimately, to this date, still has real witnesses of hauntings. That's pretty creepy. So if that doesn't sound scary enough to you, Miku actually has the ability to detect the supernatural. What better way than to spelunk through a haunted mansion wielding a camera to capture the ghosts that are haunting you. Absolutely crazy concept. One of the game creators, Keisuke Kikuchi, with Koei Tecmo and team, created the science of scaring people with the PS2. They literally perfected it by determining the exact audible, visual, and controller vibration response to make you the most possibly scared that you could be. It was absolutely incredible, and I don't think a game has done it since then as well as this one did. So this entire game is scary. It's full of a bunch of scary moments and things that are done that have nothing to do with the plot of the game, just to make you a little bit more scared. But the most frightening part of the game for me was definitely the mask scene. So Miku approaches a room full of masks, and one of them actually has the two eye holes. You can see that there's something going on behind it. So she peers in and witnesses a really dark ritual going on. And it's really cool, and it's kind of scary in its own, but she accidentally bumps the mask, and everybody in that fake ritual immediately looks over at her. Super frightening, and it triggered every response in my body to jump, and I would do it all over again. You've probably seen this game behind the glass of an expensive video game store, and you thought, well, it's just rare. Well, it's also very, very, very good. And they did make 4 other games in the series, but honestly, the original, that's where it really, really was the best.
I wanted to include an honorable mention. That would be the original Clock Tower game that came out on the Super Famicom. It never was released stateside. You can get some fan-translated repros out there. It's built up like your typical scary teen movie. You're a bunch of teenagers and you're at this mansion and there is this guy chasing you with giant scissors. Like, think about something you would trim like a hedge with, and he's creepy looking, and the only option that you have is to run and hide. Even though you think a hiding place is a good spot, he's gonna find you, and it's really gonna surprise you because he's really smart.
You'll be hiding behind a box and he'll just pop through the ceiling. Like, no big deal.
Yeah.
I see you.
Suddenly comes through the ceiling.
Scissors have never been more frightening.
Yeah. The sound of the scissors of the guy like coming by, and you can hear the scissors like chopping on by, is really like puts me on edge. It truly terrifies me. So if
Yeah.
you have an opportunity to play it somehow, I highly recommend it.
So what horror games did we miss? Do you agree with our choices? Comment below. If you liked this video, give us a thumbs up. It really does help. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, we'd appreciate a subscribe. We actually post new gaming videos every week. So thank you for watching, and remember, the couple that survives horrors together stays together. Take care, everybody. We'll see you all next time.
Bye-bye.